Welcome back to the Tabernacle podcast.
Now imagine that you've moved to a new country and a new community, and you find a Nazarene church in your area, your go-to denomination.
Now, picture yourself attending for the first time. You have a plan. You're going to attend the service and then slip out the back, going unnoticed.
We're going to interview Natane Briseño, our staff here at Danvers Church of the Nazarene. Take it away, Natane. Thank you, Natane, for sitting down with us today. We want to find out if this plan went the way we thought, if it crashed and burned, or did better. But first, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I am from Brazil. I was born in a small city called Contagem, and I've been in the U.S. for around 5 years now.
That's all?
Yeah.
Wow.
Can you believe that?
I thought you were here longer.
No, the reason is actually the very first time I came to the U.S. was 2014 as a part of an exchange program, and I got a scholarship. That was the very first time. Actually, I flew out of my state. You know, it was not even like just internationally. It was first time out of my state in Brazil. So I studied here in the U.S., actually in Washington State for a year and a half, like English, a few courses in my field. That's why.
That's why your English is better than just 5 years.
Yeah,
okay.
I guess I'll say that. And no, I still struggle a little bit though.
No, it's good. I'm surprised. I thought you were here like 10 years. All right, but I didn't
You're so nice.
No, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Please continue.
Yes, and so 5 years ago, I came to support my sister-in-law. She has like a cleaning business, and my brother and my sister here. My brother has been here in the U.S. for around 20 years. My sister, like 8 years. So I always come to spend vacation,
yep.
You know, when I had, vacation from school or for my job. So yeah, I'm gonna go and then the maximum time you can stay here is like 6 months. Okay, I'm not doing anything. I have this time, before I continue my education, gonna help you, right. Because one of her employees was gonna take maternity leave.
Oh, yep. Mm-hmm.
So I came, but then in the process I met Ish, and then I just stay. So that is pretty much how it happened. So we met each other in 2018. And then we got married very soon after that in 2019. Yeah. So my family came, like my parents came to meet Ish before we get married and give the blessing. And just, everyone just fell in love with him. So we moved to Danvers. Yeah. It is, right? So we moved to Danvers in the end of 2019. And then I said, let me see if I find a Nazarene church here, because I am already part of the Nazarene Church in Brazil. I've been part of the Nazarene Church for more than 15 years.
Oh, so, wow. Okay.
Yeah, and I wanted to continue the denomination. And I just Googled Danvers Church of the Nazarene, and then I saw, no way, they have a Danvers Church of the Nazarene. They have a Nazarene Church here in Danvers. It's like, 6-8 minutes from the house.
Oh, that's good.
So we start coming here, and we've been, coming out. Yeah. But what you mentioned about the plan.
Why Nazarene Church, though? Like, what is it about the Nazarene Church than any other denomination?
So I always love the doctrine and the theology of the Nazarene. Yeah. I think it's very, very vivid, the way we live out Jesus, and the way we focus more on people and relationships, more in like, making you feel bad. Because, we are sinners and, you're going to hell out there. It's more focused like, who Jesus is and, what he can do for your life. And it's all about relationships. So I love that.
Yes, I was just thinking about that last night because we had the Blessed Companion. And on the way back home, I was like, some of the years of a certain denomination about, you're going to hell or heaven, pick one. And as a kid, you're like, well, I don't want to go to hell. Sounds awful. Yeah. But I was like, now I'm finding some of that. And now it's like I need to turn from that and turn to the relationship with God and look at God the Father as a loving dad and not this fearful God that deserves reverence. He does deserve reverence, but what does that look like? So it's more relationship and less of that hellfire and brimstone. So I love that you just brought that up. That's perfect.
Yeah, and then, I mean, like you mentioned in the beginning, I had a plan.
Yeah.
You know, when I came to church. So I have this small period when I left my local church in Brazil, also a Nazarene church, and I came to the US. I was feeling a little bit disconnected. You know, we had some structural problems at the church. So my plan was just to come to church, you know, on Sundays, you know, sit on the bench, listen to the sermon, and just leave. Not really, you know, not connect deep with anyone, you know, definitely not be a part of any ministry or group, you know, really don't get involved. Don't get attached, you know.
Did you have church hurt? Were you at a ministry in Brazil and something didn't go well?
Yeah, something didn't go well. You know, it's like, so I have this pastor that I really, really love in Brazil, and it's the pastor before NEWTOWN. It's the pastor that we have now, and it's the pastor that I know for a long time. But when I got there, the pastor that received us, you know, we really have a very nice relationship. I really like him. And I was friends with his daughter. You know, she had an only daughter, the same age as me, 15, 16. So, and then something happened with him at the church. You know, people started finding ways to take him out of the church. So it was this group of people. So that really, really was so traumatic. And then they tried to do that with NEWTOWN as well. So this really just all the, you know, hurt and trauma for people trying to do this, you know, with the pastor of the church for reasons, you know, selfish reasons, you know, just because you don't agree, you know. And it's like, it's not like your pastor doesn't agree with the word of God. He doesn't agree with you. And this is wrong, you know, try to take like the leadership out like that. Yeah. So, and then I was just so like feeling a little bit upset with all those things happening, and I was still going there. Like I said, like I really didn't think about staying. I really didn't think. It was just like a limited period of time that I was gonna stay, and then I was gonna come back and continue to work at the church. Was not really never a time that I want to leave the church, you know. That I had like blessing from my pastor. We still talk, and you know, this year and also blessed them, you know, with offering when we had a flooding in the city because of structural problems. So how this happened, and I was kind of feel like I need some time, you know, some time off. And here in the US, I feel like, okay, don't need to deal with this a lot, and then I don't want to deal with this again.
Right.
You know, but then it's just so different, you know. I really love this church. I start to really fall in love, and it's just very hard to not get connected, to not really want to be part of, because it's like we talk about relationship. It's all fellowship, you know. We eat together. There is always a potluck. There is always, you know, some lunch, and there's small groups, you know, and people, you know, they want to know more about you, more if you are like immigrant like me, you know, more about your background, and it feels so nice. And Ish, you know, my husband, he also, you know, love this aspect of this.
Well, and I think that also we crave companionship. And then when we find other Christians, when you're a genuine Christian, you're like, I'm thirsty for this, and I need to stay thirsty for this. I'm thirsty for God, but I'm also thirsty for the church, because we make up the body. And so whether you're a finger or an arm or a tailbone or an ear, whatever piece we are, it's we can't function as an individual part. We need to be interdependent. So I'm glad you're here and that you founded Nazarene Church. Me too. I never knew what a Nazarene was, and I'm like, oh, it's a Christian still.
Like, what is that?
Good. Yeah, all right. Jesus was a Nazarene, right? So I'm like, okay, sure. So
I guess that works.
It works. I'm for it. I'm pro Nazarene. Now, do you have any spiritual heroes, whether they're back home in Brazil or they're here at your new home? Do you have any spiritual heroes or sheroes?
So I would definitely say, like, one of my spiritual heroes is like my aunt, she's a pastor, and she's actually the first person I pray with, in receiving Jesus in my heart. So I was 13. We are at the house. So my family, like my parents, my brothers and sisters, we are all Catholic. I was born in the Catholic Church, and I was actually, I don't know why, I really never really thought much about it, but I was always very religious. Even when my family wouldn't go to the mass on Sunday, my mom will cross me the street because it's right across the street, and I would go by myself. I just really felt going to church. So my aunt, she's a pastor, and she prayed with me when I was 13. She brought me to church a few times, in her denomination, and it was a little bit different for me, this idea, what, you can just talk to God without having anyone intermediating. You don't need to talk with the priest. You can just tell him something you did, and he's gonna forgive you and walk with you. So this idea of a personal God was very, very different for me when I was 13.
Right.
So I made this prayer, at the moment, didn't feel much. But then we start going to church, and then I start going, there was like Sunday school. Right. I always love it, Sunday school. And then, having other kids, and then they invite me to be part of the dancing group. So, was love choreography. I love choreography.
The Christian dancing with the arms and all that.
Oh, yes, and I used to suffer bullying from my sister because she said, it's so funny. I said, I love it. I just love it, because, the choreography, and I remember, at this age of 13, 14, 15, this was a huge part of, the ministry at church, The routines would be almost the whole day,
Oh, wow.
Different choreographies, and I really
Did you have the really beautiful skirts?
Yes.
There were crimped skirts.
Yes, and those,
the
big
streamers and stuff. Right. Oh, so pretty.
It was very nice. And no, I really love it. And then when I was 15, I got baptized, and it was very, very special because me and my mom both, we got baptized. Oh. So it was very special because, like I said, my mom, she was very, very Catholic. She used to take care of the money, very, very involved. In my case, I didn't even got the first communion.
Yeah,
I think they say so. I didn't even get to that point. But my mom, she for years very, very involved in the Catholic Church, and because it's also local.
Yeah,
everybody knows everyone. Forever. So we got baptized the same day. So it was very special because she accepted Jesus, and she also goes to the Church of the Nazarene in Brazil, the same one I was. So just felt very special. So having my aunt, that was the first person to really introduce me Jesus, I believe, saved my life. We definitely need to be recognize these people, that really, wow, how long she probably prayed for me and, pray for us. And
that's a really
she's a very
point.
strong woman, she had different things happening in her life. So she's a very, very strong woman. And can I say just one more?
Yeah, yes,
I think it's something, because I talk a little bit about, his name is Pastor Moacir. So it's the first, when we start going to the Church of the Nazarene, is we need a local church because we just moved to the city.
Yeah.
So one of the neighbors say, I go to the Church of the Nazarene for my mom. Mm-hmm. You should check it out, bring your girls, me and my sister, and we went. Yeah. And I was before, a little bit different what I thought about the other denomination, but I just got baptized. I was still new in all, this. And then the pastor was his wife, and they only have a daughter, and we are the same age. So it kind of really created a friendship right away.
Good.
I would go to small mission trips with them to little cities in the countryside.
Yeah.
He also did like work with teenagers in the area. The Nazarene church that is located near like a slum, like is a marginalized neighborhood. Right. So
low income.
Yes.
And right.
Yes, and so it's very, very nearby. So different like projects involving our teenagers and the community. So what I really stood out for me from him is because we kind of just met. And I was preparing like 2 years for this technical school. Yeah. I want to get in, very hard exam, and I repeated my first high school year so I could get into this school. So much I wanted to get it. Oh, because you needed to have
perfect grades?
Yeah, not only the grades, like you study for the exam, for the admission exam. Okay. So, and it's a very, very good school, with technical education as well. And then I had a plan as well. Have you noticed I have a lot of plans? So I was 15. I was a little bit late now because I had to repeat the first year. So my plan was like, get a boyfriend because I'm like 15, 16.
Of course.
And then just, do my high school years and, have my technical education and whatnot. But then when I got to the school, I started participating in the Bible group.
Oh yeah.
The Bible study group they had, and there was like 40 years in the school already. So it was like generations and generations of Protestant leadership that was leading this group. Yeah. And then this guy, he was like in the last year, because in high school in Brazil it's like 3 years. It's 3 years. This is like the first year, second year, and third year, and you are out of high school. So he was already on his second year, and he was preparing someone to take his place. And I said, no, it's definitely not me. But then God started working in my heart, this to take the leadership of this, they will call, the name is really like Christian Movement, and the name of the school. The name of the school is like Coltec, and was inside a university. Mm-hmm. So you really have access, to so much good and bad stuff,
right?
Because it like the freedom, that people, the sense of freedom people had. Mm-hmm. So. He said, think about it, bring your pastor here. And when I mentioned to Pastor Mosi, he not only said, yes, you should go. He went there in the school and talked with, the student and say, we should definitely prepare her to take this. And I was just so impressed because, I really felt like, wow, I'm here 15, 16 years old, and I have so much insecurity and different things. Right. And he really did that. I really felt like, very important, that he took that time to go to the school and, guide me in this process, and was such a blessing. This is like one of the best memories of, my life, on the best years, the high school years, to, lead the people, and we'll meet every week on lunchtime, for half an hour. Yeah. So was like, and the leadership was always like, they will come like Catholic spirit, but the leadership was always Protestant. Mm-hmm. And it was like so nice. People come, and have people there, students, I want to accept Jesus, or I want to visit a church close to my house. So it was very nice. We have different things that we do, go out and help people, and in the school too, all the teachers will see us with good eyes, which is good because they will think, it's a Christian movement. They are not gonna mess around with anything.
Do you think that do you think it's been laid on your heart, and that it's a passion of yours to kind of follow in his footsteps, or to lead Bible studies, or whether it's taking on an administrative role? Is that where you think you're headed?
I feel that it has to do a lot with that, because one thing that I really like helping people, I like helping people with different projects, to achieve things they want to do.
Right.
And, make people feel nice. For example, I'm definitely I'm not the kind of person that I get to a place talking with everyone or, being loud. But people that I talk, I like to remember, details they tell me. So I can kind of follow up with that, or then remember something they like. And then, if they tell me something they are going through, have some ideas, how they can get better or how they can improve that. And I definitely love like writing lessons and leading Bible study. One of the ministry, like I was a Sunday school teacher for juniors. Our juniors is like 11 to 13 years.
Oh, okay.
So and it was super nice. We'll do like different activities. This is something I really, really love teaching, young people, and which led me to also be part of the youth group here at the CN. I really like, thinking about what you write a lesson on, and researching different, scriptures and sermons, and, see what the youth think about this, and, connect this, because our youth group here is not like the youth group in Brazil, like there are different cultural difference, between the two. But I mean, both still, need Jesus and grow in Jesus. So
absolutely,
we go that way.
Right, right. No, I'm glad you like all the stuff that I don't like, because I would rather you do what you like and let me focus on what I do like. There's a time and place for everything. So exactly. I like that you like to do this very complex but very important stuff. And what you do is also, not only are you doing administrative things and teaching, but you're also investing in disciple making. And then what's so interesting is that then you're sewing into their lives and you're tying everything back around. You're weaving God's story into people's stories. So I think that makes you very creative. And it shows that has to be a God-given strategy and passion. So I'm really appreciative of it, and glad that that's your gifting, because we need it, because no one's getting it from me.
and it's so funny you say that, because again, the plans. So in the beginning, a few people know, like, I actually wanted to be like a background for PC. I wanted to support her with with documentation, the part of the administrative job, part of, being a youth leader. And I thought, some sort of secretary to PC. But then she said, no, you're going to be a youth leader with me. and then from there, it's just being this amazing learning and, sometimes we do have challenges, of course, but I mean, it's been amazing. Our group, has grown so much. We started with one youth in the beginning of January last year, and right now we have consistently around like 10, and it's so good. We always again, the importance of fellowship, always having food, and then we play games and we eat together. It's so important, and then when you are playing, you are talking with them and, asking them questions, and they start, talking more with you, because we have mostly boys, in our youth group. So they are really not very open, to really talk about everything, but, little by little. So it's been very, very nice.
Well, it sounds like you've been able to open your heart to them, and you're trying to get them to open their heart to you as well. Yeah. That way we can start planting seeds of faith and hope and love. What would you say has the U.S. do you have a heart home now? Like where do you call home?
So I would definitely say is the place I feel like I'm doing a good job. I feel like I'm impacting people around me, and I feel like as long as I have mostly like Ish is like my husband, my baby. So I feel like he's really my main supporter, you know.
Right.
He promotes me, he supports me, and he prays for me, and you know, even the work I do, he always doing as well. I always have
I've
few things for him.
He joins you and you work together. You function as one unit. You really do. You're separate, but you're also together equal.
Yeah.
Like you do very well. Like you can function independently, but why? Why would you want to when you can be together?
Yeah.
And you've brought out like he's not as shy as he once was. So now it's like we get to enjoy him just as much as we get to enjoy. I love that.
Yeah, no, he is very sociable, more than me. That's why I bring him around. No, seriously, it's like she's a great help, you know.
Now, for everyone listening who doesn't know what you do at DCN, maybe you can give us a background, like what brought you to working as staff at DCN, what you do, what's a typical day like, why you stay, slaving away, all that stuff.
Yeah, that is actually very funny. Another plan. So actually, I started to see the slides, the announcement about we need a office manager, and then I remember someone approaching Ish about it. You know, because will be somebody also that will support Pastor Elijah, you know, as a pastor assistant. So, and then we are talking, Ish and I, he mentioned that. And then I'm sorry, he's going to laugh so much about it, but I have to say, he just said like, I don't know what they thought about me. If he asked me something about, oh, did you set up the meeting? I would tell him, wait, you didn't? You didn't set up because of me? Meaning, you know, he's definitely not the right person for, you know, this job.
He's not as thorough as you are.
No, I help him with that.
Right.
And he helped me with being calm and, you know, relaxing and, you know, always saying funny things. So I told him, oh, this is nice because I had a part-time cleaning job with my sister-in-law. And I wanted to move from the part-time cleaning, because we'll take like the whole Saturday, sometimes Sundays, and say, oh, I think that would be nice, you know, to change the part-time cleaning, even though I still clean here at church, but it's different, you know, here is fun and it's nice. And I think I'm going to give this a try, you know, if I see I can help them, you know, with organizing and all that. So I sent my resume. I mentioned to Brand that I was interested, and I mentioned to Pastor Elijah, and you know, they had a few, I don't know if they had a few applications or whatnot, and then we set up an interview. So it was very nice, and mostly is like helping to manage the church calendar and help with, you know, different events. Actually, there is so much there right now. my mind just go blanks. So it's helping. A
lot of administrative things to do, coordinating.
Yes, and I mean, every Wednesday, Brenda and I, we sit down with different things, you know, sometimes ministry, but sometimes about, you know, the office manager side of things, you know. So it's like different policies and procedures, and like, oh, we have membership class where we do the materials, so helping with that. When we have events, you know, we have checklist of things that we talk about as a staff. You know, every Tuesday morning we have a staff talk. So, you know, I help with minutes and, you know, when people are talking about what they are doing, and then keeping some action items, you know, for people, you know, to follow through. So we have Google Docs, different Google Docs, you know, that people access and have, oh, this is, you know, everybody's on the same page. So, yeah, normal week will be, you know, that. And then also help Pastor Elijah and a lot of like the pastoral staff with, you know, appointments when somebody need, you know, I want a meeting with Pastor Elijah, or I want to visit, or I want to go out to eat. I help them to find a time in the calendar. And
so it sounds a lot like what it would be in the secular world for an office manager. It's the same here, only there's prayer and Jesus, right?
Which is awesome.
Which is good. So, let me ask, as someone who's in an ecclesiastical environment, does it feel different than if you're working at a non-Christian place? Like, do you come in and do you feel like, God is, I'm on the mission field? Like, how is that different?
Yeah, it feels so different because you should see me how stressed I get in my word, work, like, and like my full-time work. It's just so like
night and day,
And then this is actually relaxing. Of course, there is, a little stressful situations and, deadlines as well that we know. But it just feel like, okay, I'm working for the kingdom of God, and I'm working with people and for people.
And the benefits here are eternal.
Yes, exactly.
Like long after our bodies have gone, we're going to be little spirits enjoying the rewards of this work.
Exactly.
Plus, you can pray here and it's more normal. When I pray at work, I'm like, I try not to get noticed because I'm sure people are looking at me weird. But I'm like, but you got to do what you got to do. But you can pray openly here and probably people will join in on you.
Oh, yes. So, it's definitely like a great spiritual responsibility, and I'm enjoying, just getting to know like the background, of the church and things that happen, you say, you might think like, you know a lot, and then, but just knowing that make you love more people, and understand, why you do things the way you do, and it's all about relationship. Right. So you just want to really jump in, and you want to also work hard for that. So
where would you want to be in like the next few years, like short-term, long-term spiritual goals? Would you want to still be, working in the secular world and with the church? Or do you have spiritual goals that just affect you and Ish? What are some of the, and what are you praying for? Like what makes it, what direction are you going in, do you think?
Well, I want to continue to improve, spiritually and also my emotions. Because one thing I want to just mention is I came to church, I came to DCN very depressed, very anxious, on medications for many, many years, for depression, anxiety. And then here is the place that I found healing, and
permanent healing?
Like permanent healing.
Yeah.
Was like no medication for, I think it's more than 2 years now. I believe 2 to 3 years. And it's been like, I don't need anything to sleep. When I get anxious, I can just, relax and focus. And it's amazing, the clarity on my mind, how those negative thoughts, about myself just melted away, when you just know clearly, like who you are in God and, who God is to us and, how precious I am, for Him and for the church, how loved and care. So I start this process, with PC, we met, we pray and, and some deliverance, involved in, traumas and things that were, holding me down in this. So definitely involve, continue to get better. And it is such a positive impact with my marriage with Ish now. We have been married for 4 years. Our first year was just awful. Just awful, very bad, a lot of fighting. And then we had like a small interview as well, in the sense that he mentioned that how before I used to hammer him down, be mad at him, and now how these changes, affect him as well, how I'm serving him, and
filled with hope, and peace, and set free, so you are free to love him as the wonderful guy he is, and free to receive love too, because you don't hate yourself anymore.
Exactly.
Oh,
so it's awesome, that. And I definitely involve as well. One of my goals is to have Ish, completely, part of our family, our church, and just growing God, getting to know Him. And if it's, God will for us, give us a family, babies, each one 3. So
how many do you want?
Well, 2 or 3, but that's it. Maybe then, so preparing us for that, and, just continue to be a blessing for the church and helping people. love God, love neighbors. I love that.
Yeah, and you are a blessing, and you are a very good neighbor, and you're very good for sitting down with us to talk to us. And I'm really glad you didn't slip in the back.
No, yeah.
And slip out. I had my years of doing that too, and it didn't work out. And I'm glad. And I'm glad that yours didn't work out either. So it sounds like you've got a good plan.
So yeah, thank you so much for having me, and for listening to me. And
my pleasure. Yeah, thank you for doing this, and thank you for letting us borrow your husband for his interview as well.
I love it. Thank you.
We want to thank Natane for coming in today and being the first staff member to be interviewed on the Tabernacle podcast.
We hear that PC wants to be last, but we'll see how that goes.
Thanks everyone for joining us today for another episode of the Tabernacle podcast.
Thanks everyone for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, and to watch our social media platforms everywhere where podcasts are available. Thanks so much. Take care. Bye.
Bye everyone.